My name is Alys Crocker from The Door, and you are watching The 13th Wolfman.
Hey everyone, I'm the 13th Wolfman. You know who I have with me? I have Alys Crocker. She's the wonderful woman from The Door. If you haven't seen The Door from Black Fawn Films, check it out. Welcome back to Sit Down, Alys.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. Uh, I know that you kind of have like a busy night tonight, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the stuff that you got coming out. Gray Matter, which I'm pretty sure you can't say too much about, but you can kind of give us an idea of like who's in it.
Sure, yeah, I can definitely give you an idea of who's in it. So there's two basically lead roles in this. One of them fighting for the forces of good, one of them for the forces of evil, I'll say. I'm not going to tell you which role I have, but the other girl who plays opposite of me is Tara O'Brien. So she'll find her in it as well. And it's basically a sort of, I guess the whole movie is sort of centered around aliens. And if the idea of if they're out there to benefit us and protect us or to sort of take our natural resources and everything like that. And so there's aliens that are fighting for good and for evil. And me and the other lead girl basically get chosen by each side to fight for them on planet Earth. And that's about all I'm allowed to say about the whole thing. And I'm not going to tell you if I'm good or evil in this one.
And I'm not going to ask. So
thank you.
And all the people watching out there, you're just going to have to wait till early 2017 to find out whether she's good or evil. So
But
then
I kick ass either way. So, I mean, it's worth watching.
Well, I knew you kicked ass before you even made the movie. I mean,
oh, you're so sweet.
And then you have Human, which sounds cool as hell. Sorry, but it does.
Pretty good. No, it's great. So that one is sort of I'd say there's a paranormal aspect to it. The whole story revolves around these four friends, two couples who go off onto a wilderness hike, deep, deep, deep into the wilderness for a couple days. And then some things start to happen that are a little creepy. Their navigational equipment starts to fail. They realize they don't know where they are. And one of the couples, both of them just start acting like really weird. Something's obviously up. And the whole thing sort of deteriorates from there. And there's a really, really great unexpected twist near the end of the movie that I'm not going to tell you about, obviously, but it's a shocker, that's for sure.
Okay. And you have a web series.
I do, yes.
Rayvon Rose.
Rayvon Rose. So that one I think we're set to start shooting in January of 2017. And my co-star is going to be Brigitte Kingsley. She's, her and her husband, Andrew Simic, are sort of the brains behind the production. So she's worked on Medium Raw, Dark Rising, tons of stuff with Good Soldier Films, which is her company with her husband. And actually, she was one of the producers on The Door originally, which is sort of how this came about because everyone kept commenting how we looked almost identical. And so she recently, it was just funny. And we do, so they're calling her Brigitte, and I was Little B because I looked like her little sister. So that kind of, they were always wondering, like, when are we going to put you in a script? Is like, like somewhere in there as my little sister. And so that's kind of how this whole thing came about.
Cool. Yeah, you know how much I love The Door. I can't stop talking about it. It really was my favorite film of like 2014.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I love hearing those kind of responses from people. I mean, the whole reason we do the job is to make people feel like that. So it's really nice to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah. It had a really great aspect to it, a really, really cool story. We talked about it last time. And Human sounds like it has that kind of story that I will be enthralled in, kind of a very simplistic yet fun movie to watch.
Exactly, yeah. So it is the same kind of thing. Human doesn't really overkill it with any special effects or anything like that. I guess sort of maybe near like the critical point at the end, it kind of comes into play, but most of it's pretty simple. It's simply shot, it's well shot, but it's done without very much extra things thrown on there, but the story's so good that I think it does hold its own. It's hard to find movies like that, but I would say this one does it quite well.
And you're busy as can be. I mean, when I talk to you on Facebook from time to time, and
Hmm.
you're always saying that you got auditions and you're doing
I
this, and I mean,
know.
it's you're doing well for yourself, though.
I am, yeah. I know. I feel like I should knock on wood every time that I get to talk about it. Yeah, I'm doing really, really well. I don't know if it's luck or someone out there really likes me or what it is, but I'm feeling very excited about all the new projects that are coming my way. I do still get stressed, I guess, from time to time, like anybody does, where you kind of get overwhelmed by trying to schedule everything more than anything else. But I couldn't be happier, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Uh, I'm glad to hear that because you're one of my favorite people to watch. So
Aw.
I'd be sad if you went away.
I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry, Wolf man.
And we kind of touched on it last time you were on. Your brother, one brother's a chef, and
Yes,
how's he doing?
he's doing great. He was living on the East Coast in Halifax, and then I think like 6 months ago he moved to British Columbia. He
Oh,
moved out there because he just wanted to be near the mountains and the ocean and that whole thing. And so yeah, he's a chef at the Fairmont Royal York right now down there, and he loves it. And he keeps wanting me to move out there. So who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years we'll end up on the West Coast. I'd love to try it out, but yeah, he loves it out there. He's having a very good time.
well, honestly, I mean, Canada's a nice place to if you're an actor and you want to work, that's a place to be sometimes because they film like all the American shows up there.
I know. I know that's the other thing. I've been seriously considering it probably for the last year or two. So there's I'd say there's an 80% chance I'm going to move out there for the year sometime in probably by the end of 2017. I've always wanted to give it a try, and I think living by the ocean would be great. I grew up living on a lake, and I really miss that. It's one of the things I miss living in Toronto. There's not a lot of green space or anything like that. So I think that would be a nice way to sort of get your green space, still live in a city, and be able to be an actor. And it's a good way to transition into the States as well as the market over there.
Yeah, I mean, you could wind up on Supernatural.
It's true. Hey, I watched that show. I would love to. That's a great show.
I watch that show too. That's
Do
why I
you
said.
guys? I have a huge crush on Jensen Ackles, the main guy in it, that he's very happily married and he has a cute daughter, so I would never go down that route. But they're nice to watch, those boys.
Yeah, I watch it for Baby,
Yeah.
the '67 Impala.
Yeah, of course, of course.
No,
That's the typical guy thing to say, right? That's what every guy watches it for. There's a lot of beautiful women in it, which helps too.
no, I actually I've been watching that show since it first went on the air, and I
Me
started watching
too.
it. I started watching it because it was basically horror based.
Yeah, I was, and there's not a lot of shows out there at the time, especially when it started, that were like that. It was sort of like a new, well, at least for me at the time, I didn't really know of anything else that was like that. So it was sort of a new genre they were creating. Now there's tons.
Yeah,
They've been on the
yeah.
air for like a good decade. Like it's crazy.
They're in their 12th year.
Yeah, see, that's like amazing. And if you can do that as a TV show and still be coming up with new premises and new plot lines and everything, then good on you. That's hard. Those writers are really earning their money.
Yeah, and like you said, that the acting is well done on it. The guys are cool, and from time to time they get some hot chick on there too.
Yeah, from time to time they just throw one of those in there. So yeah, I know. I like. There's a lot of really great elements to the show. So I would love to be on it one day. Who knows?
And they just moved Supergirl up to Canada.
I know. I saw that. There's been some auditions out there. I've noticed at the casting boards, and but I think the States still has us beat. You guys have most of the production, so I mean, eventually that's kind of where all Canadian actors end up. Yeah.
No, it's true, but I do think a lot of our action shows come from Canada. I mean, it's been that way for a long time. Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis.
Yes.
You know, MacGyver moved up to Canada back in the '90s.
It's true. I mean, I think it's cheaper to shoot here, which brings a lot of productions over, which is nice for us too, because when the productions come here and hire a lot of Canadian actors and everything like that, and there's this really beautiful scenery out here, and there's like a lot of different kinds, so I can understand why we're a big draw. Plus, he's like really nice people. I like to say we're all polite.
And it's a law. I mean, if I was to move a production up to Canada,
Yep.
like only 10% of my actors can be American.
Yeah, it's true.
And
which is like, I guess I can see as an actor, I don't know if it's fair, but I can see as an actor how frustrating it would be to see all these amazing productions coming over and filming here, but then not wanting to use any of us. Like, at least, I don't know if it would be, it's like 10% seems a bit much. So, like, if we get to 50-50, I'd be happy with, but at least, like, giving Canadian actors a chance to sort of break into the American film industry.
Well, no, I mean, only 10% can be American actors. That's like 90% Canadian, which is really cool because you get to learn all. I know who Christopher Hyderall is. Because of the shows that I watch, you know, and he's a Canadian.
And you probably
actor.
wouldn't otherwise. That's the thing.
No,
right? Like,
yeah.
Canada is a funny country because even living in Toronto, there's so many good independent bands out there, and I've met so many amazing actors. But we just don't get as much coverage as the States. So generally, if you end up making it and doing well, you end up moving there just for that reason. But it is funny how, like, I've shown a lot of, like, really small independent production movies and, like, music to friends in the States. Like, oh, this is so good. It's crazy. I've never heard of this. And I was like, yeah, it's Canada. You don't really get to do it unless someone from the States is giving it a big push.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's there's just so many. Like I said, I've watched a lot of shows that come out of Canada. When I was growing up, we used to get CBC at my old neighborhood.
Oh, really? I'll tell my brother. He'll be very excited about that fact.
So I used to watch This Hour Has 22 Minutes, and you can't do that on television. And
no,
you know, I just loved it. And they would show these really cool movies like late at night.
It's true. And you know what? Maybe you have a little Canadian in you. Thank you for accepting that part of us and embracing it. We love to share with you guys whenever you want it.
Canada's given me so much great stuff, not just movies, but one of my favorite bands, Triumph.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't checked them out. See, there's so many small, that's the thing. There's almost like the market is oversaturated with talent, but it's hard to even wade through it sometimes. But whenever you find that one really great movie or director, actor, musician that you really like, it's always like the start of a new chapter in your life where you're like, oh, there's so much stuff. They've been working for the last 10 years. I've heard of nothing. So it's like binge watching and when you find a really great new series, except for it could be music or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's always nice to check out things from different countries. I'm a big supporter of that.
A band that never broke in the States, but is huge in Canada. And I've been listening to them like forever. Tragically Hip.
Oh, yeah, they're massive. I know, it's crazy that you guys haven't heard of them because down here, like, it's ingrained in our culture almost, especially being an Ontario girl. And then, you know, everybody knows who they are. It seems crazy that you guys are so close to us and yet so far removed from, like, our sort of small Canadian music scene. But I'm glad you've heard of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some stuff crosses the border when you live in Washington, you know? I mean...
Yeah, that helps.
But, yeah, I remember telling all my friends, like, dude, you got to listen to the Tragically Hip. And they're just like, who? I'm like, this is really cool Canadian. I used to call them a bar band because that's pretty much the only way that you can explain who they are without them being as big as that they should be, you know?
It's true. It is true. I think you got a pretty accurate description right there. I'm not 100% sure why the phenomenon happens, why we have so many musicians, especially down here, that break it huge. But, I mean, they still never really go anywhere in the States.
Danko Jones was another one.
Yeah. That's great. I love that you know all this stuff. You're like one of the very few Americans that I can share stuff with and have them know what I'm talking about.
I've always loved Canada. I know your anthem.
Oh, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
We got to get ready for the live show. So if you want, can you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
Sure. Yeah, sure. If you would like to find me in terms of following me, you can look up for any new releases I have on IMDb. Just look up Alys Crocker. I also have a Twitter that I don't use as often as I should, I'm going to be honest. I have a Facebook page, Alys Crocker as well, and Instagram. You can find me on there. I'm probably posting a lot of my work-related photos to there, especially over the next couple months.
All right. And, be on the lookout for human gray matter, and watch out on the internet for Rayvon Rose, because I'm going to be checking this out.
It's going to be good, I promise.
So for Alys Crocker, I'm the 13th Wolfman, and of course, I'm on the prowl.
Thanks, Wolfie.
You're welcome.